In the grand kingdom of Zuwanda, Prince Jabari is a bachelor looking for a wife. He has everything a woman could dream of: wealth, intelligence, charm, and looks that make maidens swoon. But there is one big problem. His feet stink, and not just a little. The smell is so bad that it lingers in the air, causing servants to faint, courtiers to flee, and potential brides to run for their lives. His father, King Omari, is growing old and is desperate to see his son married before passing down the throne. "Jabari, my son," he says, fanning his nose, "you must find a wife before I leave this world. It is time for you to rule, but no queen will stand beside you if your feet smell like the breath of 1,000 elephants with gum rot." Jabari has tried everything, thinking this was just a bad case of severe toe jam. Washing his feet in the purest river water, but the fish jumped out to escape the smell. He has tried rubbing them with exotic herbs, but the herbs withered in seconds. Even as a young boy, when he would wear the enchanted socks blessed by the royal priest, the socks would burn to ashes upon touching his feet. It is only by good luck that Prince Jabari was not hurt when these socks caught fire, and it was luck that the whole palace didn't burn down. Then he tried perfuming them with the kingdom's finest and most expensive oils, but the stench overpowered even the strongest lotions and potions and fragrances. The boy grew, and so did the stench of his feet. Everyone hoped he would grow out of having stinky feet, but he did not. He couldn't keep friends, and especially not girlfriends. Even when he covers his feet, the odor seeps through, so he just goes barefoot most of the time. In shoes, out of shoes, in socks, enchanted or not, the smell comes through, filling entire rooms with a bad odor. The king, thinking this was a medical disease, calls in royal healers, foreign doctors, and even witch doctors, but nothing works. Frustrated, and fearing his son would never get married, the king declares a royal decree: whoever can withstand the prince's feet and marry him shall become the future queen and receive half the kingdom's treasures. After this announcement went out through the land, more and more pairs of enchanted socks arrived at the kingdom from other kings, each hoping their daughter would marry the prince. The prince wore the newly gifted enchanted socks, but they didn't work, just like the ones he wore as a child that always caught fire. Maidens from near and far arrive, eager to claim the throne, until they meet the prince. I mean the stench. One faints at the mere mention of his feet. Another pleads to be let out of the palace before even meeting the prince because she smells the prince's feet in the hallway. A bold warrior princess attempts to hold her breath but collapses. Even a woman raised among pigs and dung has a flashback at the smell of that foul aroma and says, "I have smelled suffering, but this is cursed." The handsome prince now began to fear, the same as his father, that the prince would never get a bride. All the guards and maidens in the palace also had the same fear and felt that the kingdom was doomed, and they would lose their jobs in the palace. The fear was not only palpable, but along with Prince Jabari's feet, fear also stank up the palace. Everyone was irritated and cross with one another, but in secret, they were worrying that this may be the end of their beloved kingdom. Just when all hope seems lost, an elegant woman named Mama Ngozi visits the palace. She had a certain glow about herself. Once in the palace, she tells the king, "The prince's feet stink not because of dirt, but because of a curse." "A curse?" exclaims the king. "Yes," and Mama Ngozi continues, "I used to be friends with a girl long ago whose grandmother asked the kingdom for help after her husband had died. But the king at the time, your father, refused her. My friend's grandmother talked about revenge all the time. I saw her mother and my friend changing day after day, becoming more sad, hurt, wounded, unforgiving, bitter, and then evil. When I heard about what the prince was going through, I prayed to find out what was the matter with this handsome young man. Then I knew my childhood friend's grandmother must have issued a curse against your family that is affecting Prince Jabari, even though he hadn't been born yet. This unforgiving old woman felt wronged and never forgave the king for rejecting her request for help. She never forgave them and became a witch to seek her revenge. She wanted him to feel the rejection she had felt. In anger, on a dark and mystical night, under a full moon, She put an anti-marriage curse on the next male heir born to inherit the throne, saying he would carry the scent of eternal rejection. The only way to break the curse? True love. True love defeats all fear. Having smelly feet has kept away many friends and others who may have been able to help your son. This is how curses sometimes work. Mama Ngozi warns, only a woman who loves the prince for his heart, not his looks or riches, can break this spell. But finding such a woman will not be easy. The king then made a new royal decree that the search for a bride for Jabari would now be open to the entire kingdom, and not just royalty. After all, he had seen all of the royal princesses, and all of those had already smelled Jabari's feet and run away. Now that the new decree has been announced, lovely maidens came from near and far. They were not royalty, but they dressed in the finest that they had. When they saw the prince approaching, they were all giggling and excited because of his good looks. But as he got closer, their smiles left their faces, and they began to cover their noses. All of them ran away, just like the others. All of them, except one. One stayed. She was a simple, kind-hearted village girl named Asha. She didn't stay for the riches, or the title, or the prestige, but she had always admired the prince, from afar, because of his wisdom and kindness. Unlike others, she doesn't run away. She says, "I will stay." She stayed because she believes that every person is important. They all have values other than looks and money. She stayed because she loved the prince from a distance and wanted to get to know him better. Jabari, shocked, asks why. She replies, "Because I see beyond what the nose smells. You have to use all your other senses to get to know a person, not just what they look like or even smell like. You are a good man, and that is what matters." She had already started to love him, genuinely. Asha had her own secret, and that was that she had no sense of smell. She couldn't smell fragrances, flowers, food cooking, nothing. She used this lack of smell as her own private superpower. Daily, Asha tends to his feet with care, washing them not just with water, but with love and patience. Slowly, as she does this, everyone says that the stench begins to fade. With each passing day, his feet smell a little better, because she loves him truly more and more as time went on. Because of her love, finally, the curse is lifted. The most amazing thing happened when Jabari's curse was lifted. Asha suddenly could smell. She smelled flowers and perfumes, and even enjoyed her food more. No one knows this, but I will share this secret with you. Asha's mother and grandmother were very bitter women, but she vowed never to be like them. Because she wouldn't take on the family business and becoming a witch, her own grandmother put a spell on her that she would never be able to smell until she found true love. Asha had forgotten about that spell until that one day when her true love, Prince Jabari, was also set free from his own lifelong woes. Jabari fell in love with Asha and proposed marriage to her. They are married in a grand royal wedding. The kingdom rejoices, and the lesson is clear. True love is not about riches or appearances, but about seeing the heart. King Omari steps down, proud that his son has found a woman worthy of ruling beside him. And from that day on, Jabari's feet smelled like the sweetest flowers in the kingdom, and Asha could actually smell them. The end.